I want to teach you how to reclaim back the God powers that you have in your life. So if you are new to this channel, please make sure you're subscribing and watching this video up until the end for more enlightenment. So what do I actually mean by you being able to claim back your God powers? So if you don't already know, we are spiritual beings simply having a human experience. This simply means at the core of who we are spirits. Being spirit means that we are energetic beings that are embodied or that live in this physical body and experience life as human beings. But essentially, we are not human beings. We are just spiritual beings that are habitating or in this vessel that makes us to be called as human beings. And a spirit is what we call an energetic being that is beyond name and form. And this energetic being is part and parcel of the divine source of everything that there is. So in simple terms, everyone who you meet out there is simply a part of the creation, is simply a part of the creator. And simply put, we are actually gods having human experiences in different manifestations. So this simply means that we really have the power and capability of creating our desired reality. And how do we do that? We create our desired reality based on our internal states of consciousness. This simply means that whatever we feel within, whatever emotions we embody within, whatever things we feel within, whatever identities we embody are directly created or reflected in our external reality. Hence, if you wish to change any circumstance or anything in your life, you don't go out there and trying to change things, because by doing so, you will be trying to influence the effect by effect. Remember, in order for you to change something, you have to change the cause of it. If you want to address a problem, an issue, you don't go out there and start trying to change the issue. You address the cause of it, because the cause is what leads to the effect. Okay, so this simply means that we have to address our internal state. Okay, we have to bring ourselves in what we call equilibrium state of emotions in order for us to create whatever we want to create outside there. So by reclaiming back the God powers that you have means that you now become the powerful person who recreates or who directs or creates whatever you intend to create. And the way you do this is by the embodiment of a very important principle, which we now come to call the principle of reversibility or the law of reversibility. So how do you actually use the law of reversibility to create whatever you want in your life? This is how it happens. Now, the law of reversibility simply states that an event or an occurrence can lead to an emotion, right? But also an emotion is capable of leading to what? An event. Think of it in these terms. So we have ice and we have water, right? When you take a look at ice and water are simply one and the same thing. They both contain 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, okay? But the difference that makes ice to be a solid and water to be a liquid is simply the rate of vibration of the atoms. So the more the vibration, the more the ice becomes water. And the lower the vibration, the more the water now becomes the ice. But essentially, they are one and the same thing. And this applies to almost everything out there, because everything is made up of energy. Energy is simply movement of the atoms, and this movement causes a vibration, and the vibration leads to a frequency. The frequency is sent out, and you tend to attract things which are in your similar frequency that you have. So this means that when you now have an elevated view of life, which we call the God view, instead of viewing things as being separate, you view things as God, meaning that everything is simply one. There is nothing like this and that. Everything simply is one. But the reason why things seem as if they are different is because in this third dimensional reality, we have the principle of polarity. And the principle of polarity states that in everything there is an opposite. Everything has a polar opposite or dual opposite in nature, meaning that we need to have night, we have day, we have good, we have bad, we have hot, we have cold, we have soft, we have rough. So that principle of polarity is only manifested in the third dimension, and most people normally focus on whatever they see and perceive in the third dimensional reality to perceive reality. And that is what limits you, because in the physical world there is a limitation. Why? Because your eyes, your nose, your sense of touch, your sense of smell can only perceive a small amount of the actual reality that is there. But there exists spiritual and mental planes above the physical. Okay, so when you understand this, instead of viewing life based on the physical things that you have or what you see, you understand that beyond the physical we have the higher planes of existence, mainly the mind and the spirit. And these planes of existence are the ones that are normally the causes. The physical world is the effect, is where the effect happens, is where the creation now is manifested physically. But before it is manifested or created physically, it is something which is molded. It is something which is already created in the higher dimensions of the spirit and the mental plane. So people who are awakened creators, they understand this fundamental principle. So instead of focusing on seeing reality change on the physical dimension, they go about influencing the higher planes. And that is what I want you to learn. And once you learn this, you will come to the realization that physical action does a very little thing in your progress in this life. And most people have been brainwashed to believe that action leads to rewards, but that is not how it works. If that was so, the most hardworking people out there will be the most richest or the most successful. But you'll find out that the people who do a lot of work, mainly manual work, people who are in the construction sites, people who are doing simply the work that requires energy and strength, are the ones who make least money. Whereas the people who normally use their brains or they normally use their minds are making more money. Why? It's because these people who use the mind are not only accessing the lower plane powers, which are the physical powers, they are also using or exercising their mind, their mental faculty. And this is the strongest or most creative part in yourself. So before you go about and try to take physical action to move towards your goal, first understand that you have to create from the higher planes. This is why you find that there are people who may win a lottery, and once they win the lottery, after a few months, they go back to the same state that they were previously. Why? This is because the universe cannot be cheated. You cannot cheat the universe. The universe will always find a way to put you back in equilibrium. The universe will always find a way to take you back to the kind of frequency that you are at. So if you are vibrating at a frequency of poverty, never mistake yourself thinking that you will escape that frequency and experience actual wealth. If you are in the frequency of poverty, what you attract in your life is what? Poverty. If you are in a frequency of wealth, what you attract in your life is wealth. That is why we say that money is spiritual, same as for everything out there. So your relationship or the kind of frequency that you embody solely determines what you get to experience. So what you have to work is not even, what you have to work towards is not even so much about the physical action, what you can do physically, but rather you should put more emphasis on your frequency. And how do you do that? You become aware of what the identity that you pick, the kind of emotional states that you are in, and the kind of mental attitudes that you have towards your life, because these things are what determine who you are. And the kind of identity you embody or who you think you are, you will generally live and do, you generally feel, act and do according to what you think you are. And through how you feel, how you act and how you think, this ends up creating what we call your personal reality. Hence, your personality, which is how you think, feel and act, goes about to create your personal reality, what you get to experience. Hence, whatever is impressed must be expressed. Also meaning that whatever is within must be experienced without. And once you understand this principle, what happens is this. Instead of reacting and judging whatever happens in your life, you stop judging and you stop labeling. You stop reacting to what is happening externally. And then you come from a point of a higher level of awareness. Instead of labeling reality, because remember the first principle of polarity, that everything is simply one and the same. The only difference is the rate of vibration. So when you understand this, instead of judging your reality, instead of being angry at what you experience in the third dimension, you understand that at a certain level, I am the one who is creating these occurrences or these things in my life. So instead of judging, reacting to what you've been creating, you now come from a point whereby you start to respond. This means that most people are thrown off balance by the external things that happen in their life. So let's say something negative happens, something which you did not anticipate for happens. So for most people, they jump about, they judge, they become angry, they become sad about what has happened in the external world. Okay, and once you as a creator, you start becoming angry at the creation, it means that the external will now influence the internal, then the internal will now create the same external reality. Hence you find people are stuck in the same kind of reality over and over again. So what you want to do here is quite simple. Instead of reacting, you respond, meaning that you now let the internal balance the external. Instead of reacting based on what you see and what happens in the external, you allow the internal to do what? To balance the external. Meaning, because everything is vibration, you can decide to focus your attention on the lower spectrum of emotions, which lead to low vibrations. Or you can take your energy, which is your attention, and focus on the higher states, the states of joy, love, acceptance, courage, so on and so forth. So what you do here is when something happens that you did not want or you don't like happens, don't react, don't label it, and don't react to it. What you do is you counteract it by focusing on whatever it is that you want, because where your energy goes or where your attention goes, that is where your energy flows. So whatever you place your attention towards, you are directing your energy towards that state. So if you focus on the outcome and you label it and you judge it, that is where your energy is, and that is why you will now create. But if you now decide, I will not focus on that, I will focus on the small wins that I have. This is to say that instead of focusing on the negative side of life, you solely vibrate at the positive side. Instead of watching news that portrays or teaches you or shows you the bad things that are happening in the world, you take that attention and you place it on the things that you wish to create in your life. That is how you use the power of attention in your life to create the things that you normally want. And the more you do this, you will come to find that you become a conscious creator. You don't succumb to the external things. This also means that you tend to collapse your outer importance. So what is outer importance? Now, outer importance is that feeling or need we have to see reality change in a specific way for us to feel good about ourselves. So if you are this kind of person who's very much dependent upon external circumstances for you to feel good about yourself, it means that your outer importance is so high. Meaning, if things happen or go sideways, not according to how you envisioned or planned them, you are more likely to be discouraged, to feel sad, to feel angry. So by responding, not reacting, you start working upon addressing your outer importance of life. And by doing that, you find that you go back to an equilibrium state whereby you now start creating whatever it is that you want to create. Now let's go back to the law of reversibility. Remember I said that an event or a circumstance can create an emotion, but also an emotion can create an event or a circumstance. So instead of living in separation whereby you are waiting for something to happen in your life for you to feel good, you feel good before that thing occurs in your life. And the more you feel good, the more you tune into that feeling of being grateful or gratitude, the more now you influence the event to happen in your life. And that is simply how you apply the law of reversibility and also understand the law of polarity in your life. So if you found a lot of benefit from this video, please make sure you are giving a subscription to this channel and you're liking this video. Plus, watch this other video for more enlightenment.